Welcome to another week of Ether. It's pretty much gonna be Black Knight week this week. I'm gonna try to figure out how to,
Say the
you
word.
know, put it. Well, looking at the bonus options, I didn't pull any of. Well, I have Julia. Okay, fair. I have Julia, but also I have no use for her. So, there's that. She doesn't really fit into any of the teams that I currently have, and I don't feel like making a new team. So yeah, we're gonna Black Knight this week, see how it works. Basically, I'm just going to throw him into every configuration I have available and then, take it from there. Shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, he's a really, really good unit. I don't know if you heard, but he's pretty decent, this Black Knight guy. And plan here is to basically put him up against one of the things that can stop him here, which is Hush Spectrum from the Brave Robin here. And we're just going to see how he performs with some support. Unfortunately, no Marth because I'm not reblessing him for light season. He's currently in Astra.
Understood.
So no Marth here this time. So just Seteth and the rest of the gang. I basically scrapped or removed Alir off of this team as well as Fjorm.
Name a target.
Off of this team. For this particular configuration. So we're gonna see how it goes. Yeah, that's basically the plan. Let's see what happens, man. Throw Black Knight into the mix. I forgot to put, but apparently it doesn't matter. I forgot to put Gateau so that he could get the AoE damage reduction, but as you saw, bye Sigurd. Sigurd is apparently a non-issue for BK with the bonus stats. He's just spotting everything. Unfortunately, I don't think we get. Yeah, let's see what Felix does here. This could be a problem, but also I think he only has one option. Yep, there it is, and he does not win the speed check. So yeah, easier said than done. And from here, I think we just clean up with BK. BK should solo, and after that, I think just try to figure out how to get the pots. Pretty risky move here. Probably wouldn't recommend this. I didn't really plan it out as well as I should have, but it's going okay. Black Knight is doing the business, and once he cleans up everything here, we'll just wrap it up and call it a day. So I've been seeing a ton of feedback in terms of latest summer banner. A lot of it has to do with just overall disappointment with the quality of the units, which makes sense. That's kind of the same page that I was on as well. Mostly I was a bit higher on Lapis than from what I was seeing from everyone else. Everyone was kind of like, just skip this altogether. But I do still think that there's a unit in there when it comes to Lapis. I think she'll perform very well.
At your command.
Granted, this is days after. I mean, when this is being recorded, this is right after the banner is out now.
Right.
But by the time that you see this, opinions might have changed. I don't know. We'll see. Days will have passed. So, but currently, I'm still as of recording, I'm still very high on Lapis. If I were to pull, that would be my target. But then also, Tempestral Orbs, about 40. I'm sitting at 70 right now. That's 110. I'd like to save that if possible. I might consider just saving those orbs for the end of the month banner, which means I probably wouldn't have to buy any orbs because I would have, close to enough to be able to spark on the legendary mythic banner, emblem banner, whatever it is at the end of the month. So that might be my play, which is also interesting because that would make it 2 banners that I've skipped. I haven't skipped a banner in months, and here we are in June, and I've already skipped 2. So this is definitely an interesting turn of events because typically you would be expecting that the summer banner would be the month that you'd be spending a ton of money, but so far that hasn't been the case. That's kind of what happened in the previous years, but this year has not been the case, which I guess is good for my wallet. But underwhelming so far. I do look at it as IS testing out a new mechanic with the styles and the harmonics to you know, try to get that to work without it being completely broken. But then also, it didn't need to be on a harmonic unit. I guess you want to increase the value of the unit overall, but I didn't see that being the way that they would introduce it. I don't see the value there in that being the case. They could have just put that on a legendary or a mythic or something. Don't just take it from the emblem units and then put it into the seasonal pool. Typical IS, the execution has yet again been poor.
Understood.
The way that they've nerfed the unit to be able to use the style effect is just bad overall. I don't understand the push for it, and it really just wasn't. I guess they wanted to increase the longevity of the harmonics and the duos, but then all you really would need to do is just make them stronger. I mean, Golvig is still going. Baby Robin, Baby Duo Robin is still usable, depending on what you want to do with them. Overall, there were just better ways to go about it. I don't think this was implemented in the best way, and it just makes Celica look silly. It really does. I just feel bad for Celica, man. Celica deserves better treatment than this. But
must cut.
We get what we get. We don't get to complain because it's already in the game. We can't change it.
Only one option.
Because, alts and stuff, the art's already been done up. Everything's already been coded. So it is what it is. We're just going to have to work with it and see what they come out with next. Let's play another one, man. GG's. All right, here we go again. Well, these next two matches, I don't know. I'm probably just going to spare you this is a really good defense to start off with. This is a really nice setup here, and the plan was to have BK try to solo everything here and really just take advantage of the space that is available right in front of Camilla here. Unfortunately, things went a little bit left once I forgot, or once I finished my my setup. I forgot about Tree Man, and you will see that as a reoccurring theme in the video today because it will happen again. But this was the first one here. Basically, we're just setting up to break the structure here so that Camilla can warp down, which was a bit sketchy to begin with because her warp range is, pretty far. So I wasn't really guaranteed that I'll be able to keep everyone safe. I think there still would have been a spot in behind Black Knight that she would have been able to warp into had I, tried to counteract the problem that will happen in a little bit. But I tried to think it out as best as I could. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. And I think any other team that I brought, because I was thinking of bringing the Erica team as well, would have had a similar issue because there's just no real space to do the thing that I was thinking of doing. It was either tank here or tank in front of Loki. Both of those options are bad. But I think Erica could have probably, done it because she doesn't have as many bonuses. But ultimately, you're going to see, as I mentioned, my big mess up in a little bit. So sit back, watch, and enjoy if you're looking out for that. But in the meantime, I don't know. I guess I've already talked through my thought process. I think this is a really well-constructed defense overall. Not the first time I've come across something like this on this same map as well. I feel like this map really pairs well with
say the word.
Marthy. Yeah, with Marth. Pairs really well with Marth. And as you can see here, I forgot about the, as I said, the Tree Man of it all. Totally forgot that Lorather was going to do his thing. And also, I kind of had a space plan in mind for Sedith. I just ended up misplacing him. But I don't think it would have mattered because I think Camilla would have still reached him in the end and probably would have had the same outcome. And then she also had a target of Saline as well. So I think this was just not going to work. I think that's what it really boiled down to. Because ultimately she probably would have just warped in behind Black Knight and taken out Rune. So this just wasn't a good plan. I should probably bait it from the other side. But Yeah, not much that I can do about this Black Knight standing here in my face. He's kind of T-posing. So, yeah, we gotta get out of here. Yeah, there we go. Let's find another one. All right, so this was the second one that I fumbled big time. I totally have this one set up as well. Looking forward to getting out of it safely with a win, but then I made the same mistake, like back to back actually. And it's kind of what happens when you become so complacent with omni tanking. Typically, like I said, this was the team set up with Ather, male Ather, Fallen. And he has way less defense than BK here. BK is rocking like, I think 50 something. And typically what would have happened is that male Ather would have been the one to get the assigned decoy, and he would have acted as a near savior. Whereas BK, he's not going to run into that situation because he's already a far save. So he doesn't fit the mold. I thought it through in terms of that being a good counter to Ather, but I didn't really get the spacing properly set up here. And this one I really could have nailed it, but I messed up with Saline of all people. And it was in a you would think it was the melee threat that got me, but no, yeah, it was you're gonna see what the problem was in just a little bit. But yeah, again, another fairly decent defense. And man, just look at this, is just armored units. Literally just armored units, and it's not even an armor ball because there's a ton of mobility here, but I don't know, man. It's a good defense for where we are in the current meta because armors are so difficult to break through, but the mobility is like, you know, like once you can take out Yunaka off of this team, or if you can tank Yunaka, you pretty much win, which is probably what I should have just done. I just wanted to avoid Loki. That was the main problem. But it is possible. This was beatable. And I was, you know, almost set up for the win, but I misplaced Saline. She did not have to be there. She just needed to be within 3 spaces. And then, you know, BK would have done the job here, but again, this tanking with Black Knight in light season can end up this way. This is sometimes what happens. I'll get used to it, I guess. Well, maybe not. I mean, there's maybe one more, I think, for this month, and then we're out of BK season. So, yeah, let's get out of this match. Okay, so this one was a layup, thank God. Something that I could actually take down, even though it's, you know, it wasn't that straightforward. And even though it was a layup, I still ended up messing up yet again, the same issue. But it ended up not being the worst thing in the world for this particular situation. I think I need to make another team and bring back Fallen Ather. I kind of dropped him because I was concerned about, since he wasn't merged or anything, I was concerned about him meeting speed checks. Since I don't really have him invested, or, you know, it's just base kit plus phantom speed. So I was concerned about him losing speed checks to, like, you know, Camilla, Erica, and any one of those units that would have just outsped him and destroyed him. So I wasn't really too keen on running that particular layout as a strategy, especially since I wouldn't be able to stack him with a bunch of status buffs to get going. But yeah, here we go. This is fortunately Saline's wheelhouse in terms of being able to tank res hits. She has a fairly decent res stat, especially when combined with Sedith. She's getting a ton of help there, and that's what's allowing her to not only outspeed but survive Golveg, even though she's taking an incredible beating here. But it was enough for her to survive, and that's really what allowed me to then, you know, go through this match and win. Yet again, messed up with the spacing, but I was really concerned. I thought she would have, you know, ended up dying here, but Black Knight support plus Sedith support, she just kept healing, and it was just enough to almost, well, pretty much just get out of here. I wasn't punished for my mistakes yet again. Luckily this time. She's holding up pretty well, Celine, in terms of just when she came out. I think she's probably still one of the few units that's still viable from that banner. It was her, Diamant, Ninja Diamant. Oh, Lucina, of course. So 2 units from that banner are still usable. It was Diamant. I forget who the demo was, but Celine is still very, very good. I mean, look at her tanking this Celica here. It was insane. Granted, I do have a ton of support, but the fact that I'm winning the speed check is pretty nice. If Celica doubled there, she definitely would have gotten the kill. And yeah, we were able to get through that one. This from here, kind of tricky because the range units are all in my face. Loki was kind of my key target here to get rid of, and also just to get out of the threat range of or the status affliction range, or the within 5 spaces of Tree Man. Yeah, that was kind of my main target, and also had to get rid of Celica because she can warp with pass, and attack pretty much anyone here. But I think I was able to, well, you'll see that I was able to pretty much get all of that done successfully. Indeed. And set up for the next turn and to get the pots. But that aside, I'll just let it play out. There really isn't that much else going on. Just Black Knight waving his sword around. We're pretty much at the end of this anime season, which is I think it's one of the weaker ones that we've had so far, even though there was a lot of positives going into it. A lot of really nice new shows, and some old ones that were, being put out. I heard like literally nothing about the My Heroes Academia Vigilante series after like 3 episodes. Everyone kind of just stopped talking about it. Not quite sure what happened there. Maybe I'll give it a watch myself just to see what was going on. But yeah, that one died pretty quick. And there were a couple others that I, had my eye on for, trying to get through. Downside is I have, what I have been watching, one of the 2 shows, it's just been such a slugfest trying to get through it. It had a really well crafted first episode. It was kind of like a demon slayer type thing where his sister turned out to be a demon, and now he's trying to kill her or something. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm like still in the middle of it, but man, it was all action, or a lot of action in the first one, in the first episode, but then it kind of it's really fallen down so far. I've actually forgotten the name of it. And then I'm watching the old man becomes secretly overpowered anime as well. That one's pretty nice. Aside from the obvious grooming implications that are going on, kind of ignoring it, but he's also kind of ignoring it himself, so I kind of vibe with that. But that one's also nice, and I think it's finally time for me to start watching Apothecary Diaries season 2, because I think it's about to wrap up. It's getting close to that point, so I can finally start binge watching that. Finish Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit was enjoyable. I did not think that they could make a show about chess that enjoyable, and it was, because chess is actually a really fun game, which is kind of what we do in Faye. But yeah, it was really enjoyable to watch. Kind of felt like it kind of tapered off just a little bit. The ending wasn't as good as the middle portions, but it still was worthwhile TV. Gonna pick up Grey's Anatomy because they finally released it on Netflix, the latest season. And then I don't know, I think my watch list isn't really that full. I could fit a couple more things in there. The only downside is that I'm just not watching the shows. I'd be able to finish them if I was actually watching them in the words. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Not a real problem. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping the next anime season will be better. I think we're getting a couple of returns that should be really good, so I'm looking forward to those as well. Plus the Demon Slayer movie, I think, should be out this summer. Maybe not. Maybe I misread that. I think. And that should be, I think it's probably going to be a 2-parter to wrap everything up. And then I don't know if they're going to do I don't know if they're gonna go into like a, kind of like how JJK got a whole extra, no, like how Naruto got a whole extra thing after Shippuden ended. I don't know if they're gonna do the same thing with Demon Slayer, because they kind of did end it off on a maybe we can go back to the story type of vibe, way back in the future, time skip type of deal. But I don't know. Let's see what happens with that. Just gotta get the pots here. Not quite sure if I'm gonna be able to get both of them, but I'll give it a shot. Saw the new units for Hall of Forms, and man, that was also like not the greatest vibe either. They're all just going to be power crept in like 2 days to whenever the next banner comes out, which is the legendary banner, I believe. They're just all going to be, they've already all been power crept. So just another reason to not get them. Man, I don't know, man. They really need to figure out the life cycle of these units. It's going by so quickly, and even with updated skills, it's just not even worth picking them up. It's not even worth getting the former soul to pick them up. So yeah, potential loss of revenue there, in my opinion. I think I don't see why anyone would continue spending on the former soul packs moving forward, because there's just no value there. You can make your units as strong as you want, but they still can't compete. Trying to figure out how to get up here to this pots, but like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to get both of them because of the charge that this Chandra has. Rare skill to see on a unit. I personally would have gone with
say the word. Let us begin.
What's that? The one that allows you to warp.
Understood.
Instead of this one that's basically charged from
Is it time?
Who was her name? Thea. Was it Thea? One of the triangle attack twins. That's what she has. And I don't think this is gonna work out. I think I'm gonna only have to get, I think I can only get one pot here, which is unfortunate because it's pretty early in the week and I might forget that I missed a pot. But I don't think it's gonna be possible because she's gonna attack someone, probably Gato, and then die. Well, Gato will die, so this isn't a good setup. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make this work. So it's probably best to take the one pot and go. I was talking with some friends recently about which show had the worst ending in the history of television, and they were putting out a lot of different opinions, but I think I went with, well, I definitely have to go with Game of Thrones. Granted, to be fair, they had to make an adaptation based off the book because the book wasn't finished or isn't finished still. But man, the adaptation that they came up with for the ending for Game of Thrones was really, really bad. Like the story just completely went left halfway through, and it was just a whole different show, and it just ruined everything. They threw out a couple of other options. They threw out like How I Met Your Mother, Lost. I feel like Lost had a pretty decent ending. I feel like Lost wrapped up the majority of the cast. I don't know how to say that word. They wrapped up the story arc of pretty much every character in the show for Lost. So I was okay with it, but I guess I can understand as well why some people didn't really like the outcome from Lost. But I feel like it made sense. And some people also said that How I Met Your Mother had a terrible ending as well, which, I mean, sure. I feel like there was a lot of writer's pressure in that one to make it so that Robin and man, I forgot his name, ended up together. But yeah, this match is over. BK took us out. GG's. See you in the next one.